Welcome, chosen one. You are not here by accident, nor have you stumbled upon this message by mere chance. This very moment is a divine appointment, a sacred intersection where your destiny collides with revelation. Something beyond comprehension is unfolding, something that has the power to reshape your understanding of your life's purpose. This is not an ordinary encounter, it is a direct call from the divine, an invitation to step into the greater plan that has been awaiting you all along. Have you ever felt a stirring deep within your soul, as though you were meant for something far greater than what you have experienced so far? Have you ever sensed that the trials, the setbacks, the disappointments were not merely random hardships but pieces of a much larger design? Perhaps you have found yourself wondering if all the struggles and unanswered prayers were leading somewhere, or if they were merely delays in a journey with no clear destination. But what if every challenge you have endured was, in reality, preparing you for a supernatural shift? What if your waiting was never wasted, but was instead the divine refinement required to bring you to this very moment? The Word of God reminds us in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This is not just a comforting promise, it is a confirmation that you are walking a path that has been divinely orchestrated, where every step has been accounted for, and nothing has been forgotten. This is your spiritual awakening, the unveiling of truths that have been hidden from you for far too long. The signs have been aligning. The doors that once seemed shut are beginning to open. The shift you have been praying for is now at hand. You are not here to live in uncertainty, but to step boldly into the fullness of your divine calling. But there is one question you must ask yourself: are you ready? Are you prepared to embrace what has been prepared for you? Are you willing to let go of doubt and step forward with faith? If you can feel this truth stirring within you, if you know deep down that this is your moment, then it is time to act. Type 90099 in the comments below as a declaration of faith, a sign that you are ready to receive the blessings, the purpose, and the breakthrough that have been divinely set aside for you. This is not just another message. This is a turning point. Everything is about to change. Stay with me, because what comes next will reveal the magnitude of what has been waiting for you. Your time is now. Let's begin. Have you ever found yourself questioning why certain things happen the way they do? The heartbreaks, the disappointments, the moments when everything seems to fall apart, do they really serve a purpose, or are they just unfortunate coincidences? When life feels uncertain, it is natural to wonder whether our struggles are leading somewhere or if they are simply random misfortunes with no meaning. But let me tell you a truth that will transform the way you see your past and your present: nothing in your life has been random. Every moment, every setback, every delay has been orchestrated by God's plan to align you with your divine purpose. The Word of God reminds us in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." That means we are called to trust even when we do not see the full picture. Sometimes, things seem chaotic because we are looking at our lives from the ground level, but God sees from above. While we perceive our struggles as detours, in reality, they are part of a larger, perfectly designed journey. Faith is trusting that even when life doesn't make sense, God is still in control. Yet, let's be honest, trusting God's plan is not always easy. When doors close, when relationships break, when opportunities slip away, it is difficult to see how these moments could be part of something greater. You may have asked yourself, if God has a purpose for me, why am I struggling? Why does my path seem so uncertain? But here is the truth: what feels like destruction is often divine construction. What seems like delay is often preparation. What appears to be rejection is often redirection. Think about Ruth. She lost her husband and left her homeland, stepping into an unfamiliar world with nothing but faith and trust in God. Imagine the grief, the uncertainty, the loneliness she must have felt. She could have given up. She could have doubted whether her life had any purpose left. But instead, she chose faith over fear. She remained steadfast, even when she had no idea what the future held. At the time, she may have believed her story was one of suffering. But what she did not know was that God was preparing her for something far greater than she could imagine. Because of her faithfulness, she met Boaz, a man who would redeem her and restore her future. What seemed like a tragedy was, in reality, God's divine setup. Ruth went from being a widowed foreigner to becoming the great-grandmother of King David, securing her place in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Think about that for a moment. Her pain positioned her for purpose. And Ruth was not alone. The Bible is filled with stories of people who faced immense hardship, only to later realize that their struggles were never meant to break them, but to shape them for something greater. Take Joseph, for example. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison, his life appeared to be a series of endless injustices. To an outsider, his story may have looked like one of failure and despair. But in Genesis 50 verse 20, Joseph speaks these powerful words, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's hardships were not obstacles, they were steps toward his destiny. Without those trials, he never would have risen to power in Egypt, nor would he have been in a position to save countless people during a great famine, including the very brothers who betrayed him. His pain was not pointless, it was preparation. Now, pause for a moment and reflect. Could the same be true for you? Could it be that the very struggles you have endured, the pain, the setbacks, the moments when you felt lost, are actually positioning you for something greater? What if the doors that closed were never meant to be your destination? What if the relationships that ended were only meant to prepare you for something better? So often, when we are in the middle of difficulty, we assume that God has forgotten us. The enemy wants you to believe that your suffering is meaningless, that your pain is proof that God has abandoned you. But that is a lie. God has never left you. He has never forsaken you. Every tear you have cried, every prayer you have whispered, He has heard. The truth is, God's purpose for your life is unfolding right now, even if you cannot see it yet. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for a breakthrough that will reveal why every hardship was necessary. Trust in God's timing, because what is ahead of you is greater than what is behind you. Perhaps you have been praying for an answer. Perhaps you have been asking, God, why is this happening to me? But instead of asking, why me, what if you started asking, God, what are you preparing me for? Everything that has happened in your life has a purpose. Every loss, every delay, every disappointment has been leading you somewhere. Your setbacks are not the end of your story, they are the beginning of something new. What if your breakthrough is closer than you think? What if the very things you once saw as barriers were actually building blocks? What if every trial, every delay, and every disappointment was actually working for your good? If you believe that your struggles have not been in vain, that God is using every challenge to shape you for something greater, then declare it boldly. Type, "I trust God," in the comments below as a declaration of faith. This is not just another message, this is a call to believe that everything is happening for a reason. The pain, the waiting, the delays, they all have a purpose. Your breakthrough is coming, and what was once unclear will soon make perfect sense. Keep walking in faith. Keep trusting in the unseen. Because what God has prepared for you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. Have you ever felt like you've been waiting endlessly for something that never seems to arrive? You pray, you believe, you hold on to faith, yet the breakthrough you long for still feels just out of reach. The waiting can be frustrating. It can test your patience, shake your confidence, and even make you wonder if God has forgotten you. But let me ask you this, what if the delay is not a denial? What if this waiting season is actually a divine setup? We live in a world that expects instant results. We want our prayers answered now, our dreams fulfilled immediately, and our struggles to end overnight. But God does not work on human timelines. His timing is perfect, His plans are precise, and when He moves, everything aligns in an instant. What looks like stagnation in your life may actually be God's way of refining, preparing, and strengthening you for what is coming next. The Bible assures us in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him." If we truly believe this, then we must understand that waiting is never wasted when it is God who holds the timeline. But let's be real, waiting can feel unbearable. You see others moving forward while you feel stuck. You hear testimonies of people receiving blessings, while your own prayers seem unanswered. It's easy to feel overlooked, forgotten, and discouraged. But let me remind you of a truth that will change your perspective: just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just because you are waiting does not mean God is not working. Joseph's story is one of the most powerful examples of how divine timing turns trials into triumph. If anyone had a reason to doubt God's plan, it was Joseph. He had a dream of greatness, but instead of stepping directly into his calling, he faced betrayal, injustice, and years of waiting. His own brothers, filled with jealousy, sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. Imagine the frustration, the pain, the questions he must have asked: "God, why is this happening to me? Why am I being punished when I've done nothing wrong?" But what Joseph didn't know was that every trial was positioning him for his breakthrough. What looked like setbacks were actually divine setups. Had he not been sold, he would not have ended up in Egypt. Had he not been imprisoned, he would not have met the cupbearer. Had he not met the cupbearer, he would not have been recommended to Pharaoh. Had he not been recommended to Pharaoh, he would not have stepped into his destiny. In one moment, everything changed. Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister, from being forgotten in a cell to ruling over Egypt. The very brothers who betrayed him bowed before him, and he spoke these powerful words in Genesis 50 verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's story teaches us something profound: your trials are not wasted. Your suffering is not meaningless. The waiting season is part of your preparation. When a soldier is called to battle, do they walk onto the field unprepared? No. They go through intense training, hardship, and challenges that strengthen them. The waiting season is your training ground. It is where God strengthens your character, increases your faith, and equips you for the next level of your calling. Maybe right now you feel like you're in a prison, not a physical one like Joseph, but a prison of circumstances. Maybe you feel stuck in a financial struggle, a difficult relationship, a job that drains you, or a dream that feels unreachable. You wonder, "God, when will things change? When will I finally see the breakthrough I've been praying for?" But what if God is using this season to build something inside of you that you will need for the future? What if He is preparing you for something so great that it requires this process? The enemy wants you to believe that waiting means wasting. That nothing is happening. That you're forgotten. But that's a lie. The truth is, God is working behind the scenes, aligning every detail, setting up divine appointments, and preparing you for a moment when everything will shift. The promise in Joel 2 verse 25 is clear: "I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten." That means nothing has been lost. Every tear, every sacrifice, every prayer has been recorded, and God will restore what was taken from you. Right now, you might feel like your waiting season has lasted too long. You might be questioning if your prayers are even being heard. But let me tell you something: when God moves, everything happens suddenly. Doors that were closed will swing wide open. Opportunities that seemed impossible will appear. Your trials will become testimonies. Just as Joseph's season of suffering led him to the throne, your waiting season is leading you to something far greater than you could ever imagine. What if your breakthrough is closer than you think? What if your time is now? The waiting season is over. The trials are turning into triumphs. The divine timing is here. The breakthrough is near. If you believe this, I want you to take action right now. Type "I am ready" in the comments as a declaration of faith. Let God know that you trust Him, that you are ready to step into what He has prepared for you. This is your moment. Your story is not over. Your time is coming, and what was once delayed is about to be delivered. Stay in faith, because everything is about to change. Have you ever felt like something was missing in your life? Like there was an invisible force keeping you from stepping into the blessings, breakthroughs, and opportunities that you've been praying for? You work hard, you stay faithful, yet the doors you long for remain closed. You see others stepping into their season of abundance while you continue to wait, wondering, when will it be my turn? But what if I told you that your blessings have not been lost, only delayed? What if everything you have sown, every prayer you've whispered in the dark, every sacrifice you've made has been carefully recorded in a divine ledger with your name on it? And what if I told you that now is the time for its release? Many people live their lives unaware that God has stored up blessings for them, preserved for the appointed time. This is not just a poetic idea, it is a spiritual reality. The Bible is filled with evidence that God's justice never forgets His people, and what was taken will be restored. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Every act of faith, every moment of perseverance, every tear you have shed has been counted. The only question is, are you ready to receive it? Your spiritual account is like a divine vault in heaven, holding everything that was meant for you but has yet to manifest. Within it are the blessings that seemed out of reach, the opportunities that were blocked, the prayers that felt unanswered, and the dreams that seemed impossible. It holds the rewards for your perseverance, the recognition and favor that should have come but were delayed, and the restoration of everything that was taken from you, your relationships, your finances, your peace, and your purpose. Right now, some of you feel like life has been unfair. You've endured loss, betrayal, and hardship. You've given your best, yet things haven't fallen into place. But listen closely, God is not blind to what you have endured. Every struggle, every setback, every unseen sacrifice has been recorded. And now, it is time for the release. The story of Job is a powerful example of this truth. Job was a righteous man who suffered immense loss. He lost his wealth, his health, and even his family. Everything was taken from him, and yet, his suffering was not the end of his story. Because he remained faithful, God restored him, not just to where he was before, but beyond. Job 42 verse 12 declares, "The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. What was stolen was returned in double measure." His pain became a testimony. His suffering became a stepping stone to a greater glory. His losses were repaid with abundance. Now stop for a moment and reflect on your own life. What if the same is true for you? What if everything you thought was lost is about to be restored in ways beyond your imagination? What if the very thing that broke you is the thing that will elevate you? You might be wondering, if these blessings are mine, why haven't I received them yet? Why do I still feel stuck? The answer is simple, God's timing is not our timing. The Bible tells us in Philippians 1 verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." This means that whatever God has started in your life, He will surely complete it. But before gold can be molded into something valuable, it must first be refined by fire. Malachi 3 verse 3 tells us, "He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver." This means that sometimes, before God releases what is stored up for us, He must first prepare us to handle it. Some blessings require maturity. Some favor demands responsibility. Some breakthroughs require a shift in mindset before they can manifest. Think about it, would you give a fortune to a child who is not yet ready to manage it? No, because it would overwhelm them, and instead of being a blessing, it would become a burden. In the same way, God is preparing you to sustain the blessings He is about to release. He is refining your character, increasing your faith, and aligning your heart so that when the doors finally open, you will walk through them with wisdom, strength, and purpose. But now, I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to step into the abundance God has been holding for you? Have you positioned your heart and your spirit to receive the release that is coming? Everything that was hidden is being revealed. Your spiritual account is overflowing, waiting for the appointed time of release. But faith requires action. God is calling you to declare your readiness, to step into alignment, to claim what is already yours. If you believe that your waiting season is ending, that your hidden blessings are about to be released, and that divine justice is coming upon your life, then this is your moment. Type "I am ready" in the comments as a declaration of faith. Let God see that you are prepared, that you trust Him, that you are stepping forward with expectation. This is not just another moment, it is a divine shift. What was once blocked is now opening. What was held back is now flowing. The supernatural favor of God is being released over your life. Your restoration is near. Your blessings are being unlocked. Your spiritual account is ready for withdrawal. Do you receive it? Stay in faith, because what is coming next will leave you in awe of God's perfect justice. Now is the time to step into your season of harvest. For too long, you have waited. You have sown in faith, endured seasons of trials, and held on when everything around you told you to give up. But your waiting has not been in vain. Your trials were never wasted. Your prayers were never unheard. God has been working behind the scenes, aligning everything for this very moment. Joel 2 verse 25 declares, "I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten." Everything that was stolen, delayed, or denied is being restored to you. This is your time. This is your moment. You are stepping into your season of divine release. What if the breakthrough you've been waiting for is unfolding right now? What if, while you are hearing these words, the very doors you have been knocking on are beginning to open? The waiting is over. God's justice is in motion. The supernatural favor that has been stored for you is now being released. The doors that were once closed are opening. The opportunities that seemed impossible are coming into view. Your trials were not meant to break you, they were designed to prepare you for this miraculous shift. Ephesians 3 verse 20 declares, "God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think." What is coming is greater than what you imagined. What God is about to release into your life will not only restore what was lost but will exceed your greatest expectations. The pain you have endured is giving birth to a testimony that will inspire generations. The prayers you thought were forgotten are returning to you as overflowing blessings. The time of waiting is turning into a time of celebration. Do you feel it? The shift is happening. Your spirit knows it. Your heart senses it. The atmosphere around you is changing. This is your confirmation. Now, declare it with faith. Type "Amen" in the comments if you believe this is your moment. Let your declaration be a sign of your readiness to step into the blessings that God has prepared for you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He turn His face toward you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24-26 is not just a verse but a promise over your life. This is not the end of a message, this is the beginning of your breakthrough. God has been leading you to this moment, and His plans for you have only just begun. If this message has stirred your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Someone you know needs this revelation. Share this message with a friend who needs to hear that their season is shifting. Be the vessel that delivers encouragement to someone on the edge of giving up. And if you want to continue receiving divine revelations, subscribe now so that you never miss what God is speaking in this season. Don't delay. Your breakthrough is here. Your miracle is unfolding. This is your time. Now go forward in faith, knowing that the best is yet to come.